lot to unpack. There's a lot to unpack.
So look at y'all sounding like, you running for office, or there's something going on and you about to lose an election or something. We got great basketball games that took place last night, and both of y'all are like, yeah, it was pretty good.
Wait, give us a second.
Come on.
Give us a second. We don't just come running out of the gate like you necessarily.
I'm just saying. Hey, listen, if I could run out of the gate at 7 a.m. West Coast time, okay, you could run out of the gate at 10 a.m. Let's go.
I'm just waiting for the opportunity to do one of your cold opens. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Wow. You want me to bring
that
energy off the
happen.
top? Like, you got to give me the opportunity. I'm sitting in your seat today. I'm ready. Let's go.
Well, first of all, a couple of things, Molly. You know something very important. Number one, you do know the responsibility that comes with sitting in that chair. You got very big shoes to fill. And I'm going to one-up you, J.J. Redick.
JJ's a star.
You can do, J.J. Redick, you can do the cold open tomorrow. It's the one thing I don't think you can do. I'm going to put you on the spot. You can do the cold open tomorrow live on First Take. We going to cold open with J.J. Redick. I want to see this myself.
I think you're up for the challenge. I think you're ready for it.
No.
See, this is what happens. StephenA spends a couple days in L.A. He doesn't know how to act. Let's go.
It's totally see a different energy.
It's ridiculous. All right. How about James Harden, though? He was ridiculous, silencing the critics, defying the odds as Philly steals Game 1 without Joel Embiid with a 4-point win in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semis. This was in Boston. Harden with an epic performance, dropping 45. James, what was your mindset going in?
We didn't come in the game expecting to lose. You know what I mean? Like, we are here to win. And even after this game, I told the guys, don't get too happy. Like, we even kill. You know what I mean? Like, we're coming here to get Game 2 as well. And so that's the mindset that we have as a unit.
I thought that he had just the perfect mindset tonight. He really did. I'm so happy for him because it just tells you what he can do on given nights. It's amazing. The guy is a Hall of Famer. And all you hear is the other stuff about him. You really do. And he was fantastic.
All right. S.A., were you more impressed by the Sixers getting it done or disappointed by the Celtics?
I was incredibly impressed with the Philadelphia 76ers because I gave them zero chance without Joel Embiid. I wasn't talking about the game. I'm talking about the series. Overall, I give them zero chance without Joel Embiid. I just don't believe they have what it takes. And then James Harden comes out there and he reminds us of the star that he could be on any given night. Now, as an aside, just to deviate a little bit, Doc Rivers, I love me some Doc Rivers. I've known him for a quarter century. I love this man. But he and I have had debates about this time and time again because he gets ultra sensitive to certain things when it comes to somebody like James Harden. He's a future Hall of Famer. You hear all the other things about him, but you don't hear this. Well, the reason why you hear the things that you've heard about James Harden is because we know he's a future Hall of Famer. So obviously when the postseason arrives, there are expectations that come with the level of greatness that you've distributed or displayed rather in front of the masses for years and years and years. Come postseason time, obviously, we've seen a little bit less from him. Last night, arguably, was James Harden's greatest postseason performance. Start to finish, I thought he was absolutely spectacular. I never saw it coming, particularly against a team like the Boston Celtics, who have been struggling defensively, by the way. Offensively, they've been incredibly efficient. They've been big time. But defensively, they've had some lapses, and we've seen that last night, or we saw that last night against James Harden. Maxey showed up as well. We got to give love and respect to him. Where it's due, Tobias Harris showed up as well. They made their contribution. But this started and finished with James Harden. His attitude, his game, his perimeter shooting, everything was there. He was ultra aggressive. He didn't have to defer anybody to defer to because Joel Embiid was not on the court with them. He showed up. He showed out. Give respect and credit where it's due. I look at this series now entirely different than I did just 24 hours earlier. I did not see this coming, but because it has arrived, the Philadelphia 76ers now have an advantage. They've got home court advantage. This series is going to be very interesting. The Boston Celtics had better get on their game, or the Sixers could end up bouncing them out in 6. That's how dramatic of a performance I saw yesterday, or last night rather, for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, there's no question they've put the Sixers in the driver's seat. And look, I'm going to focus more on the Celtics. But first of all, I just want to say about Harden, look, he was forced into a situation last night to be an alpha. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make shots. Like, I knew he was going to attempt to play that way. He had no choice. You never know if a guy's just going to have it on a given night. So give him all the credit in the world, because he has faced a lot of criticism with some past postseason moments. He rose to the occasion last night in a big way. There wasn't a lot of pressure on him because no one expected him to win that game. But the way that he played, I want to give him all the credit in the world. But now let's focus on really what I want to talk about. That's inexcusable to lose that game if you're the Boston Celtics. I'm sorry, it is. And I know James Harden's a great player, and James Harden had a spectacular night. Doesn't matter. You don't have the MVP of the league. You are at home in your building with an opportunity to come out and get the one game in this series. You know for a fact you're not dealing with Joel Embiid. Their lack of intensity, their lack of energy in the building as well. I didn't feel like I was watching a playoff game. It felt like a regular season game. In fact, there were sometimes defensively on both ends, it didn't even feel like an important regular season game. So the intensity wasn't there from the beginning. I didn't think they made any adjustments on Harden as the game went on. They allowed him to operate in whatever space he chose to operate in. And it's one thing to do it at the beginning of the game, but after a dude is up to 20, 25, 28, 35, you kind of know where this is going, and you also know the shots he's going to hunt if the game stays tight. They never adjusted to it. But my biggest problem of all was what they were doing offensively down the stretch of this game, particularly their last set down 2, to not have Jason Tatum involved in any action. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to touch the ball or shoot the ball. He has to be in the action to force the defense to react to him, the best player on the floor. They don't do it. Now, look, maybe Marcus Smart went too quickly, and you certainly don't have a set run where Jason Tatum is not involved in some of the initial action to force the Sixers to react. So that I put that on Mazzulla. That showed some inexperience and a situation where I thought their team panicked. Even the play Brogdon made, throwing the ball to Maxey for a breakaway layup. That's a panicked state of mind. I expected a lot more. Inexcusable loss. I can't think of any other word to sum it up.
I'm simultaneously very impressed by the 76ers and disappointed by the Celtics. It can be both, StephenA. First of all, Doc Rivers has had some great moments as a coach as the underdog. I'm not surprised that the 76ers came out and stole this game. They came in with a clear game plan. And that game plan was put Al Horford in ball screens. They brought him into ball screens 43 times last night. 22 of those were against James Harden. A ton of success there. On Harden, literally one of his best scoring games of his career. Think about this. He made 5 shots in the paint. He made 5 middies. He made 7 threes. Never done that before. Making 5 at all 3 levels. Never done that before. He made 13 jump shots. Never done that before in his career. So give him a lot of credit. I thought Maxey was good, especially in the fourth. Tobias Harris, DeAnthony Melton, they had some big moments. But to me, it also is about the Boston Celtics' lack of offensive execution. And this is something that has cropped up time and time again, both in the regular season and the playoffs. The late game execution. Jason Tatum, his last made field goal, 11 minutes to go in the game. Jaylen Brown, his last made field goal, 6 minutes to go in the game. So you have your 2 best players not producing. You're not putting them in the right spaces. And then, as Leg said, to go to Marcus Smart, you have to get Tatum or Brown the ball on that possession. Go back about 20 seconds before that. This is where you can be both. You can be impressed and disappointed. The Boston Celtics had an offensive possession where the 76ers closed out 3 separate times. The shot clock's winding down, and Malcolm Brogdon throws an outlet pass, literally an outlet pass to Tyrese Maxey, who was so startled he almost didn't know what to do, and he goes down and dunks the basketball. And then on the last possession, when James Harden made that 3, it reminds me of Game 5 against Trae Young, when Trae Young hit the game winner over Jaylen Brown. The ease with which you just give up the switch and you allow James Harden to get the matchup that he wants. Why is Marcus Smart not switching? Why is Derek White not even in the basketball game? Why is he not in the basketball game? Why is he not on James Harden? Why are you allowing the one matchup that has been torched all night at the end of the game? You're going to give the 76ers that? You're not going to double team? You're not going to fight over that screen and play one-on-one with Marcus Smart? Come on. The Celtics have a runway. a clear runway. Embiid hurt, Bucks out. You have a clear runway to get back to the NBA Finals and win a championship and revenge last year's loss, and you keep making these same mistakes down the stretch of basketball games. As much as it is about the 76ers' great performance and Harden's dominance and all that, I'm disappointed in the Celtics.
Well, first of all, JJ, a couple of things. Number one, you're absolutely right. It can be both, but I chose to pick one side. That's what we do here at First Take. I picked a side. That's number one. And I don't mind the fact that you picked both, but that's good because you're accurate, to be honest with you. I am surprised you didn't bring up one point. And in your brilliant analysis of what transpired, because there's nothing to dispute there, how the hell is Jaylen Brown only getting 10 shots? He shot 80% from the field, y'all. 8 or 10 shots. He shot 75% from three-point range, 3 or 4 shots. And he only had 10 shots for the game. To me, even though everything that you both have said is right on point, I am stunned that we haven't really focused on that, because to me, it's the playoffs. And the reality of the situation is you've got 2 stars, not one. You got a star that averaged 30 for you. You got another star that averaged over 26 points per game for you. He's shooting the ball efficiently, and you don't find a way to get him the ball. Forget the last play. I'm not saying forget it literally, because I understand it's important. But I'm saying prior to that, it might not have come down to that if you got him the damn ball more. Figure it out. So Mazzulla definitely needs to be called on the carpet for that. But in the end, what I'm talking about, James Harden had 45 points. Last time he had 45 points in a game, in a playoff game, I think it was 2015, had like 44 in 2017 and 2018. But this was tied a career in playoff points. He was definitely in his bag. He was definitely aggressive. I would appreciate what I saw from him, because I didn't expect to see that. I really, really didn't. And the fact that we did see that, and he has that level of confidence, tells me something about Philadelphia, and Boston better be ready. These are not the Atlanta Hawks. Philadelphia clearly can take them. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.